But in fact, the specific description of our relations with all the leading countries, with all our neighbors, is contained in our annual report on foreign policy. It is a detailed document with all the statistics and facts. I hope that those of you who are interested in specific country stories will be familiar with this document. But I would like to highlight, from the results of last year, the results that are of increasing importance in 2026, several areas. First of all, this is our line for the creation of a network of good neighbors, cooperation in the CIS, the Eurasian Economic Union, the Coordination and Security Treaty Organization, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We have continued and will continue to promote the main flagship initiatives that President Putin has highlighted, primarily the formation of a large Eurasian partnership, and based on this material base, the creation of a universal continental architecture of equal and indivisible security. By the way, together with our Belarusian friends, we are promoting the initiative to develop the Eurasian map of diversity and multipolarity in the 21st century, a map that we have announced to be open to participation of all, without exception, the states of the Eurasian continent. I have already mentioned our relations with China. They are unprecedented in their level, in depth, in terms of their position on the development of the situation in Eurasia and in the global arena as a whole. I would also like to mention the particularly privileged strategic nature of our partnership with India, which President Putin also visited in December last year, and the practical implementation of our actions to strengthen security in Eurasia was also the agreement on a comprehensive strategic partnership with the Korean People's Democratic Republic, which provided us with brotherly and allied assistance in the liberation of the Kursk region, as you know, from Ukrainian militants. I have already mentioned the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, BRICS. All BRICS countries are our good partners. Our relations with each of them have strengthened over the past year, and the foundation for further cooperation in all areas has been strengthened. We are now preparing the third meeting at the highest level, Russia-Africa, and the second ministerial conference of the Ministers of Foreign Affairs of Russia and the African Union, which took place in Cairo last month. Speaking of multilateral diplomacy, of course, we note the task of strengthening BRICS and the growing interest in this union. Last year, we helped the Brazilian presidency in BRICS in every way. Brazilian friends proposed many projects, and we continued the implementation of many projects that we launched at the BRICS Summit in Kazan in the fall of 2024. On our initiative, which was supported by countries, groups of friends in defense of the UN Charter, the UN General Assembly adopted two very important, I would say, such principled decisions on the declaration of the International Day of the Struggle Against Colonialism in all its forms, which will be celebrated on December 14th, and also on the proclamation of the International Day Against Unilateral Sanctions. This day will be celebrated annually on December 4th. On our initiative in the fall of last year, the UN Convention on the Counteraction of Cybercrime was signed in Hanoi, the first document in the field of international information security. We hope that the same concrete results will be achieved in the course of the ongoing discussions on how to regulate artificial intelligence. I will, of course, be ready to speak today on various aspects of the Ukrainian crisis. Here we mentioned that we are committed, as President Putin has repeatedly emphasized, to the search for a diplomatic solution to the Ukrainian crisis. If you look at the history of this crisis since 2014, and especially since 2022, there has never been a lack of goodwill by the Russian Federation in terms of concluding political agreements. But every time our Western neighbors, first of all European ones, did everything to break these agreements. In the same way, they behave in relation to the initiatives that the Trump administration is promoting, in every way trying to convince the US administration not to reach an agreement with the Russian Federation. If you read the statements of European politicians, leaders such as Kaja Kallas, Ursula von der Leyen, Merz, Starmer, Macron, Rutte, they are seriously preparing for the war against the Russian Federation. And in fact, they do not hide it. And our position on Ukraine, in a nutshell, is the need to eliminate the cause of this crisis, the cause that the West has deliberately created for many, many years in order to turn Ukraine into a threat to the security of our country, to create a bridgehead against Russia right on our borders. And of course, in terms of encouraging the openly Nazi regime that came to power as a result of the coup d'etat in 2014, a regime that took a course on the extermination of all Russian education, language, culture, mass media, including the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church. We are interested in helping to relieve the tension in all areas that have now become more acute and which I have listed, be it Venezuela. I will especially note the Iranian situation, which must be regulated on the basis of respect for the right of Tehran to use nuclear energy in a peaceful manner. We are also convinced that for a long-term settlement in the Middle East, it is necessary to finally make a decision on the creation of a Palestinian state. And I would like to emphasize that this criterion fully maintains its relevance in light of the current and already noisy initiatives of President Trump on the creation of the Council of Peace. This is probably where I will finish my introductory speech.